the most underrated Premier League 11 of all time. I've just come up with the most perfect team. And James, from the Goonerverse, has made a pig's ear of his.
I think I might have.
Mate,
well, you don't rate any player. I was listing off players trying to help you, and you just went, rubbish.
your help.
He's awful. He's
Here
rubbish.
you are.
I came prepared.
Mother
We've been
Teresa.
sat here 20 minutes while you pull out.
Mate, I genuinely have created, I've given this the due diligence that it deserves, and I've created the best 11 using the formation of 4-3-3 of players that do not get anywhere near the recognition that they deserve. Right, let's get underway. We'll start with the goalkeeper.
Okay.
I've gone for
Yeah.
David Seaman in goal.
Okay, so this is the thing, though. He was rated, wasn't he?
No, but I feel like David Seaman, unfortunately for him,
Yeah.
David Seaman's career is defined by mistakes. If you think about David Seaman's legacy, people will always think of Ronaldinho in Japan.
Yeah.
People will always think of Dietmar Hamann at Wembley. And people will always think of Naeem in Paris. They are the things that you think about when you think of David Seaman's moments. And that doesn't at all tell the story of the true brilliance of the goalkeeper. Is that fair?
That's so interesting because I never watched David Seaman at his best. So growing up as an Arsenal fan, I kind of only hear the best of him.
Mm.
And, you know, that kind of wonder save where he kind of claws
Sheffield
out
United at Old Trafford.
Yes, things like that. So I don't have
Paul
that.
Pesky-Salido.
I don't.
Paul Pesky-Salido. That was who.
I have a feeling we're going to go very different eras for this 11. So it's going to be basically pre-2005, post-2005. I've gone a completely different.
I've got a current player in mind though. Coming up. So it's not completely, but there are some players. The majority of mine have finished, and it's now about legacy.
All right.
But I do feel like unfairly, David Seaman. If you think of Seaman, I'm sure that this is true. If you were to ask 100 football fans, first memory of David Seaman, they won't say the player that was QPR.
You think?
They won't talk about his brilliance at QPR. They won't talk about the fact that he took a pay cut in order to go to Arsenal. They won't talk about his contribution to winning doubles or whatever. I think they'll say one word, and the word is Ronaldinho. And I think that is why he's underrated.
All right. I've gone a completely different route with this.
Okay.
And maybe this speaks to the vagueness of the assignment at times. I've gone UC Jääskeläinen.
I love that.
What I just remember.
No, because he could have got a move to a bigger club.
I just remember this guy kept everything out there.
He didn't keep it out, did he? When Frank Lampard took the ball around Jääskeläinen at Reebok to win us our first Premier League title, didn't keep it out when it most mattered.
No, fair enough.
but no, you are. Look, yes, Jääskeläinen is a good shout because there were certainly moments where he deserved to be playing for a top team. He was one of the best goalkeepers in the league.
I've seen shouts. When I did research, people shout Shea Given, and I thought
Given's a good shout.
Hugo Lloris, was he rated quite as high? But I know he made errors.
Good enough.
You think he made? Tottenham fans loved him. They'd probably have him as quite underrated.
Low bar. Yeah. And also, by the end, I think he was actually quite detrimental to what they were trying to achieve.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I think UC Jääskeläinen is a good shout.
Okay. Well, we can go with either one. I'm quite happy.
I'm happy to go with Jääskeläinen.
All right, let's go with Jääskeläinen.
Who have you got in right back?
Okay, again, so now I've come more to the Seaman side of this conversation where I'm going to say a player that I know he was rated. I know people go, how can you say he's underrated? But I don't think he's talked about with some of the best right backs in the Premier League, and it's Branislav Ivanovic.
That's who I've got.
Is that who you got?
That's who I've got.
we actually
agreed.
Sensational.
Mate, we're like Lennon and McCartney.
Okay, Ivanovic is in.
Ivanovic is in. I completely agree with you. He should be in the conversation. I'm not saying he's better than Neville. I'm not saying he's better than Kyle Walker. But it isn't crazy to say that he is. Yeah. If you want to make a case for the best right-backs of all time in the Premier League era, and you want to say Branislav Ivanovic, people will look at you like you're insane. And it shouldn't be that.
I think he was tremendous. This is a guy who also covered at centre-back very comfortably. Had a great cross into the box. He felt like he'd do a little bit of everything.
Lethal in
Scored
both boxes.
Goals, didn't he?
Lethal.
Yeah. I think you're right. People talk about Gary Neville, Kyle Walker, Trent is talked about because of maybe he lacks defensively.
The glory
There's
on the ball.
Supreme talent, isn't he? But I think Ivanovic was. I mean, you're very rarely worried about right backs necessarily. He's one of them.
Also, if you think about his contribution to the team, very rarely would anyone get past him. For one reason or another. If the ball went past him, the man wouldn't follow, and if the man got past him, he just was a resolute defender. He was a centre half, so he had that property. When people can't try and suggest that Pep Guardiola redefined football by playing four centre halves, like Mourinho done this with Ivanovic.
Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah,
and then in terms of his contribution to Chelsea, like I was at Anfield when he scored 2 goals for us there in the Champions League. We beat him 3-1 in the Champions League.
Yeah,
he scored 2 goals. he won us a European trophy. In the last minute of the game, we're playing a European final in Amsterdam.
Was that Benfica?
Benfica.
Yeah.
Yeah, Torres scored and then Ivanovic scored the winner in the last minute. Like he's a true great of the game. Yeah. And you're right to put him in this because he doesn't get the respect he deserves.
Cool. So we agree.
We agree.
Lascalainen and Ivanovic.
Should we do the other fullback?
Yeah. But although I already know we disagree on it, which might speak to why I think he's underrated. But I've got Gael Clichy in there. I really loved him at Arsenal. I think at City, he kind of just picked up a few. I don't know how many times he won in the end, but he definitely picked up a couple, I think. Maybe more than a couple. He might have picked up 3 or 4, actually. But for whatever reason, I think maybe because he came after Ashley Cole. I don't know.
Do you think he was underrated? Like, do you rate him highly then?
I thought he was a very good left back.
Right.
Yeah. Look, is he one of the greats? No. But I thought he was a very good left back who rightly got his move to City and rightly played for a team that, I know they had other players as well. Adventurous Fabian Delphin moves to left back, but Clichy was aging at that point. Yeah, I thought he was a very, very good player.
Okay.
Who have you gone for?
I've gone for Marcos Alonso.
Yeah.
Marcos Alonso at Chelsea. I mean, he wasn't brilliant, but he was actually, it's very rare that this happens. Not in the stadium, but by online Chelsea fans, he was actually disliked. He was very unpopular. Whereas what he would contribute to Chelsea, scored winners against Arsenal, winners against Tottenham.
Yeah.
Winners against Atletico Madrid in the Wanda Metropolitano. Like, he was a brilliant finisher, an excellent player, achieved a huge amount with us. And I think he's almost seen as being a bad player, which it just isn't the case.
I actually agree with you. He is kind of seen as like, he played a partner system rather than being like actually, because he didn't have like great skill or great pace.
No, the pace was the problem.
But he just an eye for goal.
Yeah, footballer
right? And
as well. Like, that free kick. I remember the day so well. We were playing Tottenham. We'd had a difficult result first day of the season. Tottenham's first home game, off the back of nearly winning the league the previous season, was at Wembley. Their first game at Wembley. It was the first game that they had played at Wembley when White Hart Lane was being redeveloped. It was against them. We'd had a tricky first game of the season. We've then gone to Wembley to face them, and we're worried. Tottenham were very good the previous season. They were probably favourites for the game. Went 1-0 down. Marcos Alonso just smashes a free kick into the top corner to win us the game.
Yeah,
a brilliant player. And in terms of his rate for like goal conversion, it's a goal every 6 Premier League games. Like, for
is that
a fullback,
right? Is that his numbers?
It's a goal every 6 games in the Premier League. So I don't think he gets anywhere near. I'm not suggesting he's one of the best of. He's not in comparison. He played a different sport to Ashley Cole. Of course he did. But I feel like he is criminally underrated.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I definitely think he's underrated. You wouldn't go for Leighton Baines or anyone like that? I would have Patrice Evra in here, but he's rated, wasn't he?
He's rated, yeah. Patrice Evra is undoubtedly top 3 or 4 Premier League left backs of all time.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll settle on Alonso.
Alonso left back?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do our centre halves as a partnership?
Let's.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to like mine. I've got one. Joel Matip. He was Van Dijk's partner, I believe, through that run of, I think what did they go, like almost a calendar year without losing? Or something.
Yeah, losing at home, wasn't it?
They dropped like 2 points in a stupid amount of games. Champions League winner. And actually, when he was first at the club, it was a free transfer. It wasn't quite working for him. It was Van Dijk and Gomez. They had a really good thing until Matip. I think Gomez might have had a few injuries. I was just saying, as a free transfer, coming up against Pep City, to collect the trophies that he and they did, and to do it alongside Van Dijk. And Van Dijk was always the spoken about one. And again, when we're talking underrated, it's not like I'm saying he should have got another move because he was at Liverpool doing great things. But for whatever reason, I don't think we really ever talk about them as a partnership, or maybe him in particular. How do you feel about the shout? Do you know?
No, I think there's something to it. It's slightly more. I just think he was fine. And in terms of being underrated, I don't think that he's unfairly judged. I think that people rate Matip fairly highly, and they certainly appreciate that ridiculous run that they went on. 44 Premier League games without losing is truly brilliant.
I'm not even sure how many of those he actually played, but I mean, he was a part of that Liverpool side, and he was in and out.
There was a period where he had an excellent relationship with Van Dijk, in the way that Van Dijk also had an excellent relationship with Joe Gomez. Is he underrated? Would anybody suggest that he wasn't as good as he is?
I think some would say, yeah, he was a good player alongside Van Dijk, whereas I think, no, he played at a really high level for a few years. But I get what you're saying. This is where it gets tricky. Who have you gone for?
Okay,
I think we're going to agree with
one
yours.
of mine that I'll put on the table then, it will stay with Liverpool. I've gone Jamie Carragher.
Yeah, okay.
I've gone Jamie Carragher. Like, I just don't understand. And I know that it's social media, and I know that it almost says more about me being foolish enough to garner opinion from social media. It's such a daft thing for me to do.
Yeah, we all do, though.
But I don't think that people acknowledge quite how brilliant at football you have to be to play 700 times for Liverpool.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, if you're playing 700 games for Liverpool, bearing in mind Liverpool, in terms of like the pantheon of clubs in Europe, not even in the country, in Europe, Liverpool are one of the top tier and always have been. It's always been very difficult to get into that team.
Yeah.
To play 700 times, manager after manager arrives, constantly picks you. You, at no point, have to leave. They don't try and replace you. They can't replace you. 700 games for Liverpool. And then I will see people saying, when they disagree with an opinion that Jamie Carragher puts out on social media or on one of his platforms, people will quote it and go, rubbish player anyway. I'm like, are you mad? Are you mad? He was very unfortunate that he was around at a time when England had supreme centre-halves. If Jamie Carragher was playing now, he would be starting for England every single game. That's a fact. He would undoubtedly start.
Yeah, I've just started thinking about the centre-backs. I mean, Stones isn't at his best.
I mean, as of today, Jamie Carragher at his best is better than John Stones today.
Yeah, I agree.
And Jamie Carragher at his best is better than Mark Gahey at his best.
So, you think he was underrated to that point, though?
I feel like people don't rate him at all now, and I know that.
I know social media plays a part, doesn't it?
Social media.
His takes on social media, which I don't think are as bad as people say. Some of the analysis, he's kind of in the football conversation so much. He's talked about for that. And it can spill into, same happens with Gary Neville, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, because of where they're placed in football now and how we rate them for what they do in football now, their kind of time in the game is perhaps
but I think it is important to acknowledge quite how brilliant you have to be. Like, he also played for England. Like, you know, when I said he was unfortunate that he was trying to represent England at a period when England had so many.
Yeah, Fernand, Campbell, Terry.
Like 06, he was in the England squad, in the England
Ledley
team.
King, yeah.
You know, he was a brilliant player. He won the European Cup with not his boyhood club, but his boyhood city.
Yeah.
And I feel like now you get people, sometimes young, often decades younger than me, who will just deride him. Go, you know, what does he know about the game? He's been, you know, he was at Lily Shaw with England. I think Carragher's reputation doesn't really get the respect that it deserves.
Yeah, I can go with Carragher. He also played right back, and you know, I always rate players that can move into different positions.
Sometimes as well, it's just as simple as the geezer played over 700 games for Liverpool.
Yeah,
he is Liverpool's record Premier League appearance holder. At various points in that period, Liverpool were one of the best teams in the country. Liverpool had Fernando Torres up front. He was in the team. Liverpool had Robbie Fowler up front. He was in the team. It's undoubted. It is totally uncontroversial to say that Jamie Carragher was an elite level centre half.
Right.
But I don't think people say it enough.
Let's do it. Let's
Carragher in. My second shout.
Go for it.
Ricardo Carvalho. I just think that he should be compared to the Jaap Stams, the Rio Ferdinands, the John Terrys, and I don't think he is.
So again, this whole underrated thing. So fair, as in cool. And you know, others have put Carvalho in that kind of conversation. Said, why is he not talked about the way he should be? But he's still a very rated footballer.
But not to the level, which can still mean underrated.
Do you think?
I know that we're kind of now going to argue over vocabulary, which isn't quite the...
And ultimately, I think it's all a bit of fun, isn't it? But I think they talk about him and Terry. They were the 15-goal record, right? Yeah. So it's like he's kind of... He's rated, but he's also like... The records are talked about. That team is talked about.
But you can be a great footballer and still be underrated. I mean, further along in this video... I'm going to talk about a true great of the game.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make a case for him being underrated. So the fact that Ricardo Carvalho is perhaps acknowledged, I think when we talk about the absolute best of the best in the Premier League era, and in that I will immediately go Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, Tony Adams, Sol Campbell, Ricardo Carvalho. But I don't think people do that. I think people will say Virgil van Dijk before they say Ricardo Carvalho. And I don't think that's correct.
Okay.
Fair enough. Any truth in it? Or do you... Who did you put forward as your second choice?
You're gonna laugh me out this studio.
Go on.
Well... No,
you double checking?
I know, I'm not double checking. I'm actually making double sure. I went because I really felt he was genuinely underrated.
Okay.
I went Laurent Koscielny.
What?
Genuinely.
Laurent Koscielny?
Right. So
he's
here's
just fairly insignificant. Like, I don't mean... I
Yeah.
have no feelings about Koscielny. I don't think he's underrated or overrated. I kind of just see him as a fairly inconsequential Arsenal player of a decade ago.
Welcome to the mind of an Arsenal fan. Can't look beyond. Let me first start by saying, obviously, wasn't Ricardo Carvalho. And when I've put forward Matip and Koscielny, you've gone Carvalho and Carragher. So we've looked at this slightly differently. But the thing about Koscielny was, in our absolute, mud, Arsenal were, he scored goals that got us into the Champions League. He scored the equaliser in the FA Cup. He just always had big moments or big performances.
But what should be happening to Koscielny's legacy that isn't? What do you want people to do?
I think he's kind of talked about, like, Arsenal have only they've had terrible defenders since Kolo Touré and up to Saliba and Gabriel. There's basically been no one good. And I'm like, no, Koscielny was good. Like, Koscielny, for me, could be in this Arsenal squad. Genuinely. I think he played at a level where he wouldn't start for us, but he'd play games in this team. I thought he played to a level where he wasn't really appreciated as one of the best defenders in the league.
Okay. And you want to use this as an opportunity to go, why don't people acknowledge the contribution of Laurent Koscielny?
There's a lot of subscribers on this channel.
And you want to spread the word, spread the good word.
And he's given me a call, and I want people to know.
Laurent Koscielny. No, that is as about as rogue a shout as you could have possibly brought forward.
Extremely rogue.
Because I think we've just approached it in a different way. I've spoken about great players who perhaps don't get the love that they deserve.
Yeah.
You've spoken about average players who
I think were better than they're basically looked at. Yeah. Okay. Underrated.
Fair.
Yeah, you're not rating them enough.
Do you know what? Because it's so rogue, I would have put him in.
Well,
so you can pick.
No, I don't want to get any dislikes on the video.
If you want Koscielny in this team, I feel like you deserve it.
I can't sit here and tell you to go Koscielny over Carvalho.
Just go Koscielny and Carragher. Koscielny and Carvalho. Koscielny and Carragher.
Even the two of them next. You know what it is, right? Just on this, I remember Jamie Carragher doing a bit with Lukaku for Sky. And he asked him, who's the defender you found the most difficult to play against? And he said, Laurent Koscielny. And I'm thinking, I'm glad someone has said it. Now, Lukaku, I think at the time, was banging goals in for Everton. But I always just thought, this is a guy who could play for most of the clubs around Europe.
James?
And he wasn't, yeah.
Sometimes in life, we have to fight the good fight.
Absolutely.
And if you believe this fight needs to be fought,
I'm going with it.
Then I think you should.
Yeah, thank you.
And I would like to help you on this quest.
I appreciate it.
The Laurent Koscielny Appreciation Society.
Let's do it.
Click subscribe right now.
Well, actually, let's not go too far. I mean, the way he left was appalling. So I'm not even his biggest fan. But we'll go Carragher Koscielny.
Okay, Carragher Koscielny. Okay, let's move forward into the
like
midfield.
Button, people.
Do you know what? Yeah, hit the like button if you agree that Laurent Koscielny is incredibly underrated. Just hit the like button. I'm going to follow suit, though, with you.
Go on.
Because I'm now going to make a case for a player moving into the midfield that I just love. He's one of my favourite ever players. Okay. I would make a case, I could easily make a case, that this guy should be in an all-time Chelsea 11. That's how highly I rate him. That's how brilliant he was. But the world does not agree.
Can I just read you two names
and see if it's one of them? Are you about to talk more about Koscielny?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were about to go, I just need to tell you something else about Laurent Koscielny.
Just another fact on Koscielny. No, can I read you two Chelsea players and see if it's one of these two? Because there were options for me. Ramirez and John Obi Mikel were the two I had down.
And the answer is Ramirez.
Okay, yeah.
The answer is
I'll
Ramirez.
immediately agree on that one.
Ramirez, I cannot tell you. I'm not a clever enough man. I'm not an articulate enough man. I don't possess the vocabulary skills to tell you quite how brilliant he was for us. I loved him. I loved him so much. He had every attribute as a midfielder that I want, including, crucially, a slightly hateful quality. If necessary, Ramirez is going through the back of someone. If necessary, Ramirez will foul you. He will bring you down if you go through on goal. And that edge that team had, it was him. He sacrificed himself for Chelsea to make it to a European Cup final. He was banned from the European Cup final. But the goal that he scored in the Nou Camp when he chipped Valdez, it was unreal. It was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're through on goal. We're 2-0 down. Our captain's been sent off. We're losing to arguably the greatest football team ever assembled.
Yeah.
And you're through on goal. And you've done that.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And he took it so quickly, didn't he? He didn't really take too much time.
And he wasn't really that player.
No, he wasn't. No.
He wasn't really like... I mean, he obviously was. But what he was also brilliant for was he was a cut and thrust. He was actually quite an English midfielder. He was a box-to-box... goal scoring, brutal in the tackle midfielder, and yet he had this almost like this Brazilian flair every now and again. He scored a goal for us against Man City in front of the Matthew Harding Lower, where he literally danced through three players, bang bang, in out, bang into the top corner. It's like what are you doing?
Class player,
class act.
You know, it says a lot when in Mourinho's return when he won the title. He started the season, you all know better than me, but I believe he started the season with Oscar in the 10, sort of Fabregas and Matic behind. But as he entered that second half, Fabregas moved up the pitch and Ramirez came in. And I think that just speaks to you're making your way into a winning Chelsea side under Mourinho. You're doing something right. And obviously won the Champions League, like you mentioned.
I would almost argue that there isn't a midfield that Chelsea have ever had that Ramirez wouldn't elevate. Like, Ramirez was a better Chelsea player than Michael Ballack. No doubt. No doubt. But Michael Ballack, because of the reputation, there is this myth. I don't know if you've ever had this with anyone at Arsenal or just that you can think of, where players, post-retirement, their reputation grows. Michael Ballack at Chelsea was a very frustrating player. Okay. He wasn't always popular. And I think the way that social media see him now, everybody would say that Ballack was a better Chelsea player than Ramirez. And it is simply not true.
Okay. Well, I'll Ramirez is a Chelsea fan on that. But I agree that there are players that retire that I look back on and go, are you forgetting what? I had that with Giroud at Arsenal, where people go, he was really good for Arsenal. I go, wasn't. He hit his best at Chelsea and then he got better after.
Well, it wasn't. It's not always a mistake to let someone go who then goes on to do good things.
Well, exactly.
Who else have you got who have you got in the midfield?
All right, so I'm going to agree with Ramirez because I had a few names that just rattled them off really quickly. John Obi Mikel's one I thought of. Santi Cazorla, I thought he was top, but
great feet.
I had
just beautiful feet.
I don't know if you're going to agree with this. He played for your club as well, but when I saw him at Arsenal with Jorginho, I thought, and you don't rate him, do you, at all? I didn't. I know because I watched your content when we signed him. And I'll go with Ramirez. You didn't rate him at all. Mate, when he came to Arsenal, he won the Champions League with you guys. You won the Euros with Italy.
He had Kante next to him.
No, but come on.
He had Kante next to him.
He was good in that midfield. Really?
Lots of Chelsea fans will disagree with me, particularly Chelsea fans.
Maybe this is why he's underrated.
Online, Chelsea fans seem to really like him and like Sarri. He was a bit unfortunate because Sarri was such an unpopular manager and so not suited to be Chelsea manager.
He embodied him, didn't he?
Exactly. He was the personification on the pitch of Maurizio Sarri.
Yeah.
But no,
okay.
Jorginho, no, not for me. But
I'll go Ramirez. I agree.
Okay.
That's my shout. But I thought he was worth mentioning. For what it's worth, when we signed him, I went, why are we doing this? And then after 2.5 years, I went, thanks for your service.
He had an amazing moment, didn't he, at Villa Park, off Emi Martinez's head. And obviously that means something to you as well.
He played great games against Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp's energised midfield and all that. But anyway, I'll go with that. So can I put forward a second central midfielder?
Yeah.
And this is more in the Ricardo Carvalho style of looking at this. I'm going Yaya Touré. Now I know
what you're saying.
I know.
I've got no issue with this.
Very rated. But for me, like when people talk about the best central midfielders the Premier League's ever seen, Gerrard, Lampard, De Bruyne has been put in there. I think he should be in the conversation. I think Yaya Touré, there are times I watch him and went, oh my word, he's just put in the top corner because he fancied it from 30 yards.
But the reason why I think he isn't
is
I know he was in the Premier League for a decent amount of time, but I feel like he only played to the level that you're talking for one season. There was one season where he was completely... No,
the Pellegrini season.
He was a brilliant player throughout, but he reached a level that was one of the best midfielders in the world. Undoubtedly the best midfielder in the Premier League that season.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering it rightly, I feel like he only did that once. And that's why perhaps he isn't seen as comparable to the Gerrards or whatever. But what I would argue, and totally agree with you on, and happily put him in this team, if the question was, what midfielder would you pick on their day kind of thing? Like I kind of argue that Sir Alex Ferguson is the best manager that the Premier League's ever had. but I would say an on their day manager is Mourinho, or for like their best ever season. Who at their peak is the best? I go Mourinho over anyone.
Okay.
I kind of think that for that game you can go Yaya Touré. That year I kind of never seen anything like it. You know, when you have those memories. I remember when Torres had that season. You're just like, what's this bloke doing? I remember Suarez had a season, and you're like, what's this bloke doing? Lampard had a season. What's you doing? Yaya Touré did.
I agree. There's nothing he didn't have. He had the height, the power. He had his technical quality was sensational. Right foot, left foot. He played. I think under Mancini he played like in the 10, like with sort of De Jong and
he did.
Fernando or someone behind. I can't remember. And then he moved a bit deeper. He could play as a 6. He played centre back in the final for Barcelona when they beat United 2-0. I just thought,
was he centre half that day?
I think he was,
Really?
and Busquets came in.
Right.
Yeah, fact check that. Let us know in the comments. I'm pretty sure he was.
Right.
But I just think, we talk about all those players we mentioned, even Patrick Vieira, Roy Keane, and I didn't have the pleasure of watching all of those at their absolute height, but very few midfielders have I thought, oh my word, you can do whatever you want. You can't stop him if he's on it, and Yaya Touré is one of them.
Yeah, I've got no issue with it, and I do think that there is certainly a place in this team for players who are elite but don't get the recognition that they deserve.
I agree. Yeah. We maybe should have established that.
No. I mean, I kind of did, because I think putting David Seaman in initially is that David Seaman was England goalkeeper. Like, David Seaman was obviously a brilliant player, but I just feel like his reputation doesn't necessarily reflect who he is.
Carvalho, Ivanovic. I agree.
So no, I think you're correct. I think Yaya Touré. Do you know, on that level, he's not in my team, but do you know who else I feel like that about?
Go on.
Brilliant player, but doesn't get anywhere near the love that he deserves. David Silva.
Oh, interesting. I
He's
feel
not
like
in my team, but
I feel like he's very loved. Well, we're going to pick a 10, aren't we? So we're going Ramirez and Torres.
Let's go Ramirez and Touré. Yeah, I'm happy to go with that. Do you know who I had to put forward, but I now won't?
Yeah.
Curtis Jones. James.
No,
he's a wicked player. And nobody agrees with me.
Well, I think he's a good player, so maybe that speaks to the underratedness. But
I'm not joking. If I were Liverpool manager, and some would argue I should be, if I were Liverpool manager, Curtis Jones starts every game.
Who are you dropping?
It depends. It depends on the form of Florian. Like, if you're picking players based on form and what they do rather than the reputation, Curtis Jones starts everywhere. They're a better team with Curtis Jones. I think England are a better team.
He's a good player. I'm not laughing at the player.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
But look, he's not as good as Yaya Touré. So, and he doesn't play this game as well as Yaya Touré. Yaya Touré is more underrated. But Curtis Jones was a player that I was gonna.
Well, could he be your 10? I mean, because he kind of plays across the midfield.
I mean, I've my 10.
I found this hard.
I found it hard as well,
because I feel like 10s are just rated. I think people kind of just, because they play in an area of the pitch that they score some goals, they play nice passes, they get assists. I felt generally they were rated. But who have you gone for?
I've gone for a few reasons we can get into. I've gone for David Bentley. I know he's more of a wide player, but I've put him at 10. He had played there. And part of the reason is I thought he was a lovely footballer. You know, very, very un-English. And you think about the way that Wenger spoke about him. Wenger said he was the next Dennis Bergkamp. You know, he was seen as being the next David Beckham for England. He was a good player. And part of the reason that I've put him in this underrated is because I saw a clip of Tom Garrett putting him in an overrated.
Okay.
And I thought, like, generally my opinions chime with Tom's. I think he's brilliant at what he does. I like him. He's a friend. I just thought he got this one so wrong. I just thought that David Bentley is not given anywhere near the respect that he deserved. Like, he played for England. I actually remember going to France. We got beat 1-0. Ribéry scored a penalty. And I got tear gas really badly going in.
Oh, wow.
And I remember David Bentley playing in that game. I remember David Bentley being there. So he scored a hat-trick against Manchester United. He scored one of the best goals the Emirates has ever seen.
That was unbelievable.
And people see him as being a bit of a joke. I just don't think he's right.
He's brilliant at Blackburn. Yeah, very good player.
Brilliant. That Blackburn team were brilliant as well.
Yeah, I was... This is a strange one. And people are going to think I'm just sort of trying to appease the Chelsea fans here. But Juan Mata.
Yeah, possibly.
And the reason...
Possibly. It's a good shout, you know.
The reason I had him in was he was unbelievable for... Well, the time he was at Chelsea was 1 year in particular. His numbers were off the charts.
Yeah. By the way, that year that you're talking about, it's quite important. The context of the year is relevant, right?
Yeah.
The year you're talking about is Chelsea's most successful season ever. We won a European Cup and the FA Cup in the same season. And Juan Mata was our player of the year by a mile.
I forget he was there when you won the Champions League.
Oh, mate, he was integral. He did miss a penalty before anyone started, but
I was thinking
he took the corner for the header. Drogba's header was whipped in by Juan Mata.
Well, of course, but the reason I forget was because I always think of him in the, when he had the blue and the gold stripes.
Yeah.
That, which was Di Matteo started, then he left. I can't remember who came in after.
Oh, that was Benitez.
But like he was still putting up numbers, Matt, if I'm not mistaken.
The 2 seasons where he shone for us.
Yeah.
By the way, you're right. He is underrated and he will be in this team. I completely agree with your suggestion. But the 2 seasons where he was our player of the year, it was our best ever season in terms of what we won. We won the European Cup and the FA Cup. We beat Tottenham 5-1 at Wembley in the semi-final on the way to winning that FA Cup. We beat Liverpool 2-1 in the final, Ramirez scoring.
Yeah.
Our player of the year that year was Juan Mata. The following season, we became the only team to ever simultaneously, for a week, we held the European Cup and the Europa League, as it's called now. Yeah. We held them both simultaneously.
Yeah.
Juan Mata was our player of the year that year as well. Like the 2 seasons where we actually won back-to-back European trophies, as well as an FA Cup. Juan Mata was our player of the year both seasons.
And actually, then the reason I think he really fits this underrated thing is Mourinho came in and went, I'm not having him.
And then Mourinho's so unlucky. Mourinho followed him to Man United.
Right. And at United, he was kind of fine, but they never really knew quite what to do with him. I remember Giggs came in when they'd sacked Moyes. Giggs came in. First thing he did was drop Mata. It was like a big thing. So I felt like he was kind of... And he also got minutes in a Spain team that had Iniesta, Xavi, Fabregas, David Silva. So I just think... It's unbelievable player.
Unbelievable.
He could do it off the right as well. Not every 10 could.
Unbelievable player. In terms of the rocket from outside the box, like he scored a volley against Manchester United in a pulsating game under the lights at Stamford Bridge.
Was it the 3-3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He scored a volley. Mate, if the net wasn't there, it would still be moving now.
Yeah.
It's 15 years ago. It was a great... Do you know when people talk about Kyle Walker and they go, Kyle Walker never beaten? We beat Tottenham 4-2 at White Hart Lane. Gary Cahill scored a great volley for us. Juan Mata to Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
It was back. You know when people gloss over, Kyle Walker never beaten. He locks up any winger. Not Juan Mata that day, sir.
Well, I'm glad that one's gone down well.
It's gone down really well.
Juan Mata's in the team.
Juan Mata is in the team. Right, so front 3.
Touré and Ramirez. Okay, front 3. This got tricky.
So easy.
Really? Okay.
So easy.
Well, do you want to go first? You're right winger.
I'll start right winger.
Yeah.
David Beckham.
Again, underrated though.
So underrated. When people talk about the best right wingers in the Premier League, it's now just become an exclusive debate between Mohamed Salah versus Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah,
there isn't even an honourable mention to David Beckham. It doesn't even come up, which is ludicrous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Do you think part of it is that he's like talked about for everything he's done outside of football too?
He's a brand Beckham and all that. Yeah. He's not...
And the stories and everything.
I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me. But as someone who lived it, as someone who was at Villa Park when he scored against us, the geezer was a genius. The geezer was a genius. He was resilient. If you think about Manchester United as a club, one of the things that makes them so great is their resilience. You think about what the club has been through over the years. Yeah. That's almost personified by David Beckham. The hostility, like football isn't really like that anymore. But like I think West Ham fans had an effigy of him hanging. The front page of the paper, if I remember rightly, and this is when papers were selling 4 million copies a day. The front page of the paper, the headline was 10 brave lions, 1 stupid boy.
Yeah, I remember,
with a picture of Beckham.
I remember seeing it.
And you're like he had to overcome all of that. So that happened in 98.
Yeah.
Mate, in 1999, Manchester United win a treble. Manchester United's player of the year is David Beckham. David Beckham finishes 2nd in the Ballon d'Or that year to to Rivaldo. Bearing in mind, Manchester United beat Barcelona on the way to winning the European Cup and a treble. He should have won the Ballon d'Or. Of course he should. They won the European. Of course he should. And now people go, well, it's either Salah or Ronaldo, and that's the end of the conversation. You're like, what? What are you talking about? Then you look at his CV. Played for Manchester United, Real Madrid, AC Milan, Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
It's like, he's one of the best footballers who've ever lived.
Well, he's lived in great countries as well. I mean, in great cities.
Yeah. If you're going to do you know who else has done that? Do you know who else has made a life out of that?
Yeah.
Fabregas. Fabregas has lived in Barcelona,
Yeah.
London, and Como,
Yeah, what a time.
and Nice, I think. Geezer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so London, Madrid, Milan, Paris, LA.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And now he's in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'll agree with that.
Who have you gone for on the right wing?
Well, I can say not even 1% of what you said, but he played a lot of games and he's won a lot of titles. I went James Milner.
James Milner?
Yeah.
You mental?
I thought he was a really good player. And he's kind of seen as like, did a job for City, did a job for Liverpool, I thought he was a really good player. Played in midfield, could play in the 10, can play in the 6, played right wing.
James Milner?
Wow.
For you, like,
he's underrated. James Milner.
What sort of ratings should James Milner
No,
have?
I
Then?
get
What
what
should
you're
we
saying.
do?
Like,
I'm saying that David Beckham doesn't get the rating that he deserves. He's there for underrated. When we talk about James, what should we be doing? Putting James Milner in all-time 11s?
No, he's just sort of. I think he sort of laughed off. Yeah, James Milner. No, he's a very good player. He was never a great. He was never like, I was about to say he's never integral. I think he did have a run in the Liverpool midfield. Anyway, we'll go David Beckham.
He was very good. He was very good for Liverpool.
We'll go David Beckham.
But you are right. James Milner is still playing now.
Yeah,
like
Brighton.
I remember when I was a kid going to Leeds and he scored against us.
Yeah,
I was a child. I've got children. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's still he must have played like 700 games, 700 Premier League games.
But if you're talking journeys, Leeds, Newcastle, Villa, Manchester City, Liverpool, Brighton, what a CV.
Yeah.
But I think that's 20 years of football.
Do you know what? Your take surprised me, but you are right. Simply just by consistency, he's a great of the Premier League. He's not a great of the game, but he's a great of the Premier League.
Yeah, even that's a bit further than I'd have gone.
He has to be a great of the Premier League in the way that Gareth Barry is a great of the Premier League.
I get what you're saying.
David James, people like that.
You know what? The thing is, I've been so inconsistent with every position in terms of how I've judged it. But you know what? Shout out to James Milner.
Shout out James Milner.
Left wing.
Left wing's the easiest one in the world, right?
Well, no. See, this is where I'm coming with Raheem Sterling. Who are you going with?
I'm going with the correct answer.
Which is?
Ryan Giggs.
But he's rated.
He's not. By who? He's not even in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, God. Really?
Yeah. But nobody rates him. It's truly ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous. Ryan Giggs is one of the most gifted footballers these Isles have ever produced.
But surely people recognise that he was a supreme footballer and that's it. And
how many times, you work in football media, we're both very fortunate to do so. How many times have you been talking to Turkey's probably a bad example because I think he would get it. But how many times have you realistically heard Ryan Giggs mentioned as a true great of the game?
I feel like he is.
I do. Maybe I've got it wrong.
I mean,
there's a chance.
But I don't. This thing is, this video in itself is slightly out what I normally do. It's like these conversations I'm not having every day. I'm not ear to the ground on what people are saying because I don't pretend. I never watched Ryan Giggs at his very best. So my impression of him was unbelievable player because that's what the outside noise has kind of brought to me.
No,
so
I would honestly argue that Ryan Giggs should almost be the first name on a team sheet. When people do the Mount Rushmore of the Premier League?
Yeah.
It is just undeniable that Ryan Giggs has to be on it. It is just undeniable. But I don't think he will be. I think people will go Rooney, they will go Henry, they will go Gerrard, Lampard. They will say all of these names. And everybody who watches this channel regularly will know quite how much I idolise Frank Lampard, as is testified by the glorious shirt behind you. But even I would totally hold my hands up. Frank Lampard is my hero and would always be on my thing. But even I would go, yeah, obviously Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs, just for context here, Chelsea are a huge club. Chelsea have won 6 titles ever. 5 Premier League titles ever.
Yeah.
Ryan Giggs has won 13.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, the great of the Premier League is Ryan Giggs. Now discuss who else is. Yeah. The Mount Rushmore is Ryan Giggs. Now we discuss who's next. And I just don't think people do that. I think it'd be very easy to see people doing Mount Rushmores and not including Ryan Giggs.
Well, fair enough. Like I said, I didn't watch vintage him. I've seen him dance through our defence in the FA Cup, I think it was, and rifle it in the roof of the net.
Yeah, Villa Park.
And then what I saw was a player reinvent himself to playing central midfield against Barcelona in the Champions League.
He went from a marauding winger playing for Alex Ferguson's.
Yeah.
Like Alex Ferguson's, they were basically unbeatable. They won every other league at the very least, right? Yeah. They retained or they won every other. Every year, Fergie would go out and buy players. Never ever replaced Ryan Giggs. Never ever tried to buy another left winger or a central midfielder.
Unbelievable career, unbelievable player. I thought he was more rated than you say, and fair enough. The reason I went for Raheem Sterling, I'll keep it really quick, is I think this is someone who has delivered for England at tournaments where many wonder kids haven't. Someone who has won titles, played for Liverpool, played for Man City, was... Pep Guardiola doesn't mess around with players. If he doesn't rate you, you're not there. He doesn't just try and make it work. And with Raheem Sterling, not only did they work together brilliantly in the way he got an output out of Sterling, but because of that, I think Sterling suddenly was looked at as like a system player, functional player, really quick, got to the back post. He was a really talented dribbler, could do things from outside the box, had a creative pass in him. I thought was it the Euros, that 2020, that was played in 2021.
Yeah, he was one of England's
unbelievable
best players,
for England. So I think he's quite... And his time at Arsenal didn't help any of us. Not him, not us, no one. So I think he's underrated for that reason. But
I think I agree with you.
Really?
I think I agree with you. I just don't agree with you as much as I agree with myself.
Fine.
But I do agree with you.
Let's go, Kicks.
I think no, mate. We don't. I think that we can go Sterling. We can go Sterling most certainly, because I do agree with you. I think that Raheem Sterling is undoubtedly one of.
Did you not forget he played for Chelsea?
Yeah, that didn't go well.
No, we're better than Arsenal.
But he's one of England's best players, like over the years, if you think about his contribution. I just think 13 league titles is so disrespected.
It probably is as a stat. I just think, I get you. Well, no, I'm happy to go, Giggs.
Okay.
I think you've sold it well.
Okay. Do you know what? We'll go Sterling here because I think you're really going to like my centre forward.
Okay.
Who have you got up front?
I've got... This was tricky. I went Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah, why?
Who have you gone?
Ian Wright.
Again, so you've gone again. For me, he's
nobody ever puts Ian Wright in anywhere near the conversation that he should be in. Like, Ian Wright broke Cliff Baston's record at Arsenal. He became Arsenal's top ever goal scorer.
Yeah,
top ever goal scorer.
And he came late in his career.
And he became
27, I think.
People, because Henry came so quickly afterwards and broke Ian Wright's record.
Yeah,
people kind of forget. He didn't have the record for long enough for it to be his. But Ian Wright is one of the best centre forwards that England have ever produced. And I really don't think he's spoken like that. Like, the reason why this is fresh in my mind is because I had an argument recently with somebody who I work with a lot, who was trying to convince me that Jamie Vardy was better than Ian Wright. And I actually had to just go, I can't talk to you anymore. I'm out of ideas here.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's an uncommon theory.
This is so interesting. Again, apart from Ivanovic and Yaya Touré, I think most of mine have been players that, no matter. I think, I get what you're saying. I've looked at good players that I just think were a lot better than people gave them credit for.
So you're thinking that the answer to this is more of a Darren Bent than an Ian Wright? It's more of a... It's more of a...
Do you know what it really is? It's how they spoken about. So whatever the level is, how they spoken about versus what they actually were. So if they were world class, but really they were generational, then fine. I've taken players that I thought... So who did I just say? Defoe. Jermaine Defoe, right? He's scored a lot of his goals for Tottenham. I just felt wherever he went, he scored goals. He was a brilliant finisher. Did it for Sunderland, did it for Portsmouth, did it for Tottenham. Scored different types of goals. And over several years, I just thought, what a brilliant, brilliant player. For whatever reason, was never quite at the top club to go and, I don't know, get...
But do you know the argument you're making here for Defoe? I feel like it's applicable to more players before Defoe. Like, I'd say Robbie Fowler. Everything you've said about Defoe is applicable to Robbie Fowler, Matt Letizia, Les Ferdinand, before it's applicable to Jermaine Defoe. Those players aren't given the respect they deserve either, and they were all better than Defoe.
Yeah, fine, fair enough. Twisting my arm. Please invite me back.
But no.
Again, I'm going to be so interested to see what people say in the comments of this. Because I think you can look at so many different ways. But on Ian Wright...
Fair enough, mate.
Yeah, fair. You win. With Ian Wright, like...
Does Ian Wright have a statue at the Emirates?
No, and this is one of the...
There's case, right?
Yeah,
Bergkamp, Tony Adams doing his thing against Everton, Henry on his knees. It's all there.
This is probably where the underrated thing plays into your point, right? when Arsenal fans argue for Ian Wright to have a statue, they do talk about the quality of the player, but they also say what a great ambassador for the club, how well he protects our players, how great everything about him in the media and his representation of Arsenal Football Club, the media campaigns he's a part of. We love him for all those reasons. And some might say, but it's not just, forget all that as well, it's the player. So maybe that plays into it, that he's kind of loved for so many things that he's not talked about for what he always did on the pitch. But again, I became an Arsenal fan. I'm always very honest about this. I became an Arsenal fan in 2006. Champions League Finals, first game I watched. So only then was I kind of locked in watching players.
It's a great start.
Yeah, I know. It's brilliant. So the players I loved growing up were Hleb and Rosicky and players like that, right? So I could have made an underrated 11 of players that you'd have laughed me off for.
Players like that, though, I rated Rosicky.
Yeah, Rosicky.
Lovely feet.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I love those players. And so I never watched Ian Wright week in, week out. But growing up as an Arsenal fan, my dad would go, Ian Wright, Dennis Bergkamp, Tony Adams, like Thierry Henry, Nigel Winterburn, like these Lee Dixon, like he would just list off these players, and so in my head they're very rated. But you're right, maybe in the wider football discourse they're not.
The fact that Ian Wright doesn't have a statue at Arsenal is like the fact, and you have statues. Do you know, like you have statues for living
Adams,
legends.
Bergkamp, Henry, Wenger had one very recently, and then there's a few others like that aren't quite the full body, but yeah. I agree. He has to have one.
And like I say, I think he's one of the best strikers that we've. He's just a brilliant striker, and he isn't really seen. And I think part of the reason is that he broke Baston's record, and that it didn't last long because Henry just smashed through. But that's our 11.
That was hilarious.
mate, we approached it very differently.
Yeah.
But it was an absolute joy to work with you, mate.
No, it was fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Really enjoyed it.
Appreciate you coming on, mate. And I think that you're doing some brilliant stuff. Thank you to everybody for watching this. We really do appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts on our underrated 11 in the comment section below. And before you go anywhere, please click the description below and make sure that you subscribe to the Goonerverse. You will find all of James's content there. What a guy, what a man. Brilliant, brilliant content. Ta-da.